This is the weekend edition of iFiber One News, where we present some of the top stories from this week and your weekend weather forecast. I'm Bethany Jenks. Stay tuned for the weekend edition of iFiber One News.
From the iFiber One HD studio here in the heart of the Columbia Basin, this is iFiber One News, your number one source for local news, sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. This is iFiber One News, and it starts now.
One of our top stories for this week came from Coulee City, where longtime resident Dan Bolliard takes a look at the history of railroads in Grant County in his new book. Reporter Jeff Chu met up with Bolliard and has the story.
A new book, Images of America, Big Bend Railroad, is the result of Dan Bolliard's lifelong love of all things rail. A Coulee City area native and railroad buff most of his life, Bolliard's first book on the region's railroading history will be released in late January. Much of the book is derived from his blog, where he has written almost 2,000 posts about Grant County and regional railroad history. The blog, which he launched in 2007, can be found at sdp45.blogspot.com or search for Big Bend Railroad. Bolliard's book reveals the importance of rail to Grant County's history dating back to the 1890s.
So back then, the railroad brought anything and everything you'd ever possibly want. If you lived in Ephrata back in the 1900s, that was how things got there. I mean, if you wanted anything, like you'd order via the Sears catalog, it showed up in a boxcar, was unloaded, and delivered to either you directly or maybe to one of the local stores who in turn sold it to you. Everything came. The mail came. They had dedicated cars and the passenger trains that actually just dealt with the mail.
Bolliard is a big collector of railroad artifacts, including a train signal, old railroad crossing signs, and a pair of railroad tie hand lifters. Bolliard's passion for trains dates back to his youth.
I've had a lifelong interest in trains and railroads, having grown up between Ephrata and Coulee City and Moses Lake. So always looking out for something along the tracks as a little guy. Really grew into the love of trains as I lived as a young man, about 10 years old in Coulee City. I'd be out there every day. The train was there, just standing there watching these big machines switching out cars and doing whatever they needed to do. I know the crew had taken an interest in me and had called me out one day, which was so exciting for a little guy.
The author says the book was well sourced. He received photos from several people.
A number of retired dispatchers for the railroads, the archivist at Eastern Washington University, regional archaeologist with the Bureau of Reclamation. This wasn't just a neighborhood effort. There's some pretty important people who looked over the work.
One of the most unique finds in his railroad research were the ovens left behind by early rail building crews.
As the story goes, the railroad crews, which were of Italian descent back then, had brought over some bakers with them, and it was their job to build a fire in these big stone ovens that they built. Get the rocks hot, sweep out the fire. You can cook anything in there you want.
The book will be available online at Amazon.com, Dog-Eared Books in Ephrata, and other locations to be determined. I'm Jeff Chu for iFiber One News.
The next story comes from Ephrata, where elementary students have teamed up with area groups and businesses for a toy drive to help foster children. Reporter Devin Higgins has more.
For most kids, early December is a time to finalize Christmas lists for Santa Claus. But third graders at Ephrata's St. Rose of Lima Catholic School team with Trout Lake Farms, the Basin Retirement Home, and area businesses for the annual Operation Elf Toy Drive. Teacher Regina Doremus said the class became a sponsor thanks to Ephrata Pita Pet owner Pam Lesseman, who's grandmother to one of her students.
Maddox's grandmother came to me and asked me if the third grade class would like to sponsor the toy drive to help Operation Elf, which supplies toys to the foster children of Grant County. There's over 300 children in Grant County that are foster children, and they don't have much of a Christmas, and therefore we have collected toys for their Christmas party. The kids have been so excited about bringing toys and giving to other people, and to know that some of the children that go to school here have been foster children in the past and are now adopted into a family. So they actually see somebody that was in need and that they're going to be helping. One of the Christian values that we teach is being merciful to others, and those that are in need, we're there to help them. And so this goes right along with our religious academics and religious beliefs that we're here to help others.
The toys will be collected by the end of the week and distributed to the foster children over the holiday weekend. In Ephrata, Devin Higgins for iFiber One News.
And now we take a look at people being sought by law enforcement.
This is Sheriff Tom Jones with the Grant County Sheriff's Office. Each of the people you see here have a warrant for their arrest. If you see any of these people, we ask you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but call us at 509-762-1160 or send us an email at primetips@co.grant.wa.us. If the person is presenting a danger, call 911. With your help, we can bring these people to justice and make our community safer.
We'll be right back after this.
Attention business owners. The deadline is fast approaching to advertise in the 2015 edition of the Moses Lake Local Book. Don't be the only business left out. In print or online, it's the best way to reach your customer when they're ready to buy. Call today to place your ad by calling 877-738-9829 or by visiting us online at www.statewideyp.com. The Moses Lake Local Book Telephone Directory. Simply the best advertising.
At Moses Lake Community Health Center, we have had the privilege to serve the local community since 1978.
What I like about working at this clinic more than any other clinic that I've worked at is the patient care. With the patient care team that we've assembled, it allows us to take care of these many facets of the patient and their family's needs.
Please take the opportunity to experience the high-quality care provided at our clinics.
And hi there, everybody. Meteorologist Don Morelli with you here on iFiber Channel 1 News Weather. Hopefully you had a great Friday. The weekend is upon us. And of course, your forecast is brought to you by Bud Cleary Toyota Dealers. Toyota, let's go places. Now, of course, we do have the unsettled weather pattern. We woke up to a few patches of freezing precipitation. Temperatures generally moderated, though, but we're going through the same scenario overnight tonight with brief freezing rain or drizzle overnight tonight. And then it looks like a little unsettled Saturday. A half and half weekend, though, because Sunday I think it'll improve. But the soggy wet weather pattern continues because by the time we hit Monday morning, more precipitation comes our way, and it'll be that way. Looks like much of the work week next week. 37 and 33, the extremes today. Didn't quite hit the freezing mark, but many of the outlying areas were close enough that the light precipitation that moved across did create a glaze here and there. We officially had a trace of precipitation, but more is coming on in, as I mentioned, overnight tonight. Looking at a high of 39 in Moses Lake after morning low right at that freezing mark. And again, there were a few slick spots this morning. Now, as far as the current conditions, well, we have 35 degrees, which is good news because it's above freezing. The bad news is the dew point is 32. That's about as how low we can get to. So that's why we still have the potential for maybe some freezing patches of rain and freezing drizzle and so forth. But mainly it should be liquid, particularly with time during the daylight hours coming up on our Saturday. So let's put it into motion. Here we are through the evening hours, pockets of snow actually to our north. Most of this settles on down, but after midnight, before sunrise, look at that slug of moisture coming on in. So again, it could be a rather messy start to Saturday. By Saturday afternoon, things sort of break apart. And look at Sunday. Wow, a nice break. But you better enjoy it because by Monday morning, one band comes across. That could be freezing in some places as well as we approach the freezing mark. And yet more bands of this Pacific moisture train continues to head our way for the first half of the work week next week, if not much of the week next week. Here we go with the state forecast. You can see a few pockets of sunshine, but generally lots of clouds and still plenty of precipitation, particularly west of the Cascades. But again, the inland northwest, some rain continuing much of the day. We may see some breaks during the afternoon, but you can see temperatures into the upper 30s to lower 40s, which is, again, above freezing, so no major travel problems are expected. However, if you are traveling through the mountains, of course, it always gets a little slick up there. Not so much with the initial systems here, but this part of the work week could get significant snows for the mountains as it's cooler aloft by that time. But in the meantime, very unsettled as we slide through the next several days. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You don't need me to tell you that 4 and all-wheel drive time is on its way. But maybe you didn't know your local Toyota dealers are gearing up for the season with special savings on our top-selling 4 and all-wheel drive models. From tough Tundra trucks to our best-selling CUV RAV4 or Venza, the perfect blend of all-wheel drive with safety and style. Plus many others. The bottom line is exceptional 4 or all-wheel drive savings just in time for winter. For full details on these and other savings, visit any of your Inland Empire Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Searching for that perfect place to settle down? Whether you're looking for an elegant single-story, spacious two-story, or a custom home on acreage, Aho Construction can aid your decision with a streamlined production process that saves time, money, and natural resources. Compare us to other builders and see for yourself what advantages you can get by choosing an Aho home. Our philosophy is that we do things right the first time around. Start planning your dream house today with Aho Construction. Call 509-766-1366.
Moses Lake girls basketball is ready for a new season. After placing 5th in state last year, head coach Matt Strophy thinks they have the players to make it back.
Lady Chiefs basketball is back on the court. After finishing 5th in 4A state last year, head coach Matt Strophy likes his team's balance of young and experienced players.
We returned 5 girls from last year's varsity team that finished 5th in the state of Washington at the 4A level. We bring in some new faces, some young faces that are incredibly talented. It can fill some roles pretty easily. We've got some.
Coach Strophy will rely heavily on his 4 seniors in what's always a tough Big 9 conference.
We have somebody like Avery Clark, a senior captain, this will be her 3rd year as a starter. She started as a sophomore and as a junior. McKenna Walker's the same way. She started as a sophomore and junior and now a senior. We have Alicia Overland, who's an incredible athlete, and she's been a contributor again as a sophomore and as a junior. So a special senior class, definitely.
Coach Strophy knows his team's expectations are high, but thinks the Chiefs are ready for the challenge.
So I definitely think the expectations are high and the target's on our back, but I think we're more than capable of handling those expectations and that target.
For iFiber One News, Sean Wells.
With 10 seniors on the roster, this might be the most experienced Ephrata basketball team Coach Evanson has ever had. But games are never easy playing in the CWAC.
Ephrata basketball is gearing up for a new season, but the goal is still the same, make it to state. Head coach Brendan Evanson knows the task won't be easy going through the CWAC.
They're all tough. They really are. This is an extremely tough league this year. Wapato, Ellensburg are probably the 2 top dogs, and then you got Prosser, East Valley. Those 4 are pretty good.
Coach Evanson will rely on his team's speed and ability to shoot well all season. He expects all 11 of his players to contribute.
All 11 of them. They're all good players. They're all going to play a vital role. We got 5 guys returning from last year's team that'll step up and lead us in the right direction.
10 of those 11 players are seniors for the Tigers. Coach Evanson thinks that bodes well for his team throughout the season.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you have a lot of seniors, they show a lot of great leadership, and they know they've been in this program 4 years. I think that's very important for team rules and our expectations for them.
For iFiber One News, Sean Wells.
A team full of upperclassmen has expectations high for the Lady Tigers. Head coach Aaron Ross likes the different playmakers he has on his squad.
With games right around the corner, the Lady Tigers are ready for a new season. Head coach Aaron Ross likes his team's mix of different playmakers.
I think we've got a little bit of everything. We got some post players, we've got some guards, we've got a couple shooters. We're fairly athletic, so I like the combination we have. It's just gonna see if we can put it all together.
A bevy of upperclassmen bodes well for Coach Ross.
And we've got a whole bunch of juniors that are sort of ready to make their mark also. So like I said, we can put it all together.
Senior point guard Freddie Ham thinks this Tiger team can do something special.
I think we can, and we're going to have to dig deep. And there's a lot of rumors around that we're just another team and we're going to go through the same routine, same record, but I think we can prove everybody wrong. But it's going to take a lot of work, obviously.
Senior post player Harley Venata isn't shy about her expectations.
Go to state and win that and take it all away. I want a trophy, a pretty one too.
For Fiber One News, Sean Wells.
We'll be right back after this.
Just when I thought the blizzard couldn't get any better, DQ put the blizzard inside a waffle cone. This is mind-blowing. So when DQ asked me how I would tell the world, I said... Sounds better in Italian.
Pretty impressive, Liz. Any blizzard, like confetti cake, now in a fresh baked waffle cone. This is fan food, not fast food.
Bud Clary Ford Honda is proud to be an automotive leader in our area. Since opening our doors over 54 years ago, we have kept a firm commitment to our customers. We offer a wide selection of vehicles and hope to make the car buying experience as quick and hassle-free as possible. You can trust that we will get you into the car or truck of your dreams. Bud Cleary has an experienced and reliable service and parts department that is open extra hours to help fit our customers' hectic schedules. Come for a test drive today at 1200 South Pioneer Way. We are a proud supporter of Columbia Basin Athletics.
Our next story is about the Soap Lake Downtown Revitalization Project that's nearing completion. Reporter Jeff Chu headed downtown and has the story.
Soap Lake's Downtown Revitalization Project is nearing completion with most of the sidewalk and street work completed. It's a project that's ongoing, according to Mayor Raymond Gravel and Downtown Revitalization Steering Committee Chairwoman Trudy Black. Gravel says once most of the work and landscaping is completed in the spring, then a full-blown dedication will be scheduled. The mayor wants to invite state and federal lawmakers and dignitaries to the ceremony, which, as planned, would be followed by a street dance. Yet to be installed are 25 lamp posts with energy-saving LED lights along Main Avenue between Daisy and Division Streets. The lamp posts were selected by the late Soap Lake arts advocate Brent Blake. A 50-foot flagpole is also awaiting installation on Main at the top of the hill where an island has been built adjacent to the library.
This is going to transform, it already is, transform our little town into one of those communities that survives. It is funded by the Transportation Improvement Board to the tune of $2 million. It goes all the way from 2nd Division around to Main, and includes the First Avenue there by John's where the street was just terrible, and all of that has been replaced. We have new sidewalks, new pedestrian amenities, and of course new pavement.
The project's whole idea is to draw new businesses, help existing businesses, and create a pedestrian-friendly, traffic-calming downtown Soap Lake.
The streets have been designed to meet the DOT standards of what they call complete streets. That means that it's safe for pedestrians, all types of transportation, cars, bikes. You'll notice that we restriped Highway 17. That's Daisy that goes through our town. It's now down to a single lane in each direction with a dedicated turn lane, dedicated bike lanes on each side, and proper width parking.
Businesses have been open since construction started. Gravel explained what is left to complete the project next year.
In the springtime is when the final details of the project will be completed. That will include landscaping, benches, bike racks, other pedestrian amenities. Those are not funded.
Money will have to be raised through the Downtown Revitalization Steering Committee's grant writing efforts. Trudy Black, who has led the steering committee for 2.5 years of planning, said the project is part of a city master plan drawn up nearly 10 years ago. She said volunteers will join this spring to landscape some 20 spaces along Main.
We want to see our community thrive. It's been actually losing population through the years. Businesses are dwindled next to nothing. So we're trying to call attention to ourselves and say, hey, we're here, we're fun.
I'm Jeff Chu for iFiber One News.
We'll be right back.
As the summer has quickly approached, we all enjoy the family barbecue and kids playing in the sprinkler. However, many drivers are distracted and are seldom focusing on what's important while driving. It could be the random phone call, adjusting your stereo, or the lip gloss check in the mirror. Here at Farmers Insurance, we make sure you understand what coverages fit your needs. The more you know, the better you can plan. My name is Cheryl Kono, and I'm your local Farmers Insurance Agent.
We are farmers. Are your kids rough on your furniture? Things looking a little run down? Then come to More Furniture in Ephrata and we can help get things back in order. We have all the top name brands made with strong quality support, including Sealy Posturepedic mattresses, because whatever you do in bed, Sealy supports it. The next time your furniture is in need of some replacing, stop into More Furniture in Ephrata, locally owned and trusted for over 100 years.
The next story is about Grant County's upcoming point-in-time homeless count, where volunteers are focusing on collecting donations to provide to individuals and families. Reporter Jeff Chu has the story.
The 2015 point-in-time count for homeless people in Grant County takes place January 29th. Stephanie Bonwell, who supervises the count for Grant County Housing Authority, said training for the count volunteers is at 11:30 a.m. on January 22nd. It takes place at Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church at 200 North Dale Road in Moses Lake. Bonwell said this month she is focusing on collecting donations to provide the county's homeless individuals and families with travel-size hygiene items or hotel items. Items needed include shampoo, bar soap, toothbrushes and paste, deodorant, razors, toilet paper, Band-Aids, chapstick, matches, and hand warmers. Donations of laundry detergent pods and washcloths, sleeping bags, heavy blankets, tents, portable heaters, and bottled water are also needed. Donations can be dropped off at Serve Moses Lake, 422 West 3rd Avenue from 9 a.m. to noon and 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday. As part of the homeless count, the second annual Project Homeless Connect will be offered to homeless individuals and families at Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church. The free service from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. January 29th offers help with service providers, showers, haircuts, and hot lunch. Bonwell said last year's count found 177 individuals, 86 of them children, living in vehicles or outdoors in Grant County. Bonwell can be contacted for questions at 509-762-5541, extension 126. I'm Jeff Chu for iFiber One News.
Rounding out this week's news coverage is a story about a program in Moses Lake that's helping high school students succeed after graduation. Reporter Jeff Chu has more.
Stay in school and work hard. That's the resounding message behind the Jobs for Washington Graduates program in its fourth year at Moses Lake High School. The program that tries to find a vocation or career for the high school's most at-risk students was celebrated Wednesday at the school's theater. During the induction and initiation ceremony, more than 200 students have received Jobs for America graduate pins and certificates welcoming them into the program. The students heard a pep talk from Gary Chandler, who graduated from Moses Lake High School 45 years ago and today is Vice President of Government Affairs for the Association of Washington Businesses in Olympia.
My job is to do as much as I can to encourage you, stay in school. As tough as it is, stay in school.
A former state representative from Moses Lake, Chandler urged the students to consider vocational training at the new Columbia Basin Technical Skills Center.
Today, what the school's trying to do, what we're trying to push, is to give you the opportunity to get a skill. If you don't want to go to a four-year institution, then to me, vocational education is so important.
The Moses Lake High School program is supervised by Bobby Spence and Amador Castro. Spence detailed the program's purpose and said with its first senior graduates, the program is now connecting with local industries to get students employment.
The program was started back in Delaware 34 years ago by a gentleman that wanted to work with students who have barriers. Those barriers could be that they are from a single home, that they are first generation high school or college technical school graduates, that they are out on their own. Any of those types of things that make it hard for kids to graduate from school, we encapsulate that, we embrace those kids, and we work with them with the program.
Spence said the program's intention is to create a skilled workforce for Grant County industries.
We want them to have jobs. We want them to have the jobs that are in the state for them. We don't want to outsource our labor and outsource our talent.
Castro said the program has already shown success stories, teaching students responsibility in the workplace.
I have a student who didn't know what he wanted to do, and now he is going to school to become a chiropractor. So that's pretty amazing. We have quite a few students who have doubted themselves, but now because of the program, they feel like they can continue on and really accomplish anything they want to at the high school.
Greg Kittrell, Vocational Career Technical Education Director for the high school, also encouraged the students to stay in school.
Whether it's schoolwork, day-to-day work, or a job you have, no job beneath me, I will do it.
I'm Jeff Chu for iFiber One News.
That wraps up our weekend edition. iFiber One News will be back on Monday at 5 p.m. with the latest news from around the Columbia Basin. Thank you for watching.